Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we are going to take a look at some gameplay with a team that I stole from Panda Light 1. We're going to have a team here around the Aegislash, is apparently on how you say it. I always would say Aegislash, but that is apparently not the case. It's Aegislash. And yeah, today we want to take a look at a fantastic team here for you to try for the current Go Battle League meta for the Open Great League. And we're going to have here the Pangoro in the lead, a Pokemon that I feel like a lot of people underestimate, especially in the current meta, especially with the Pokemon that are currently around. This thing has so much potential. Against Pokemon like the Licky, you're going to be able to have so much play, but even if you face it up against the Tinkaton, you're always going to threaten that close combat, which does a lot of damage, which you saw already here. And generally speaking, this team was fantastic, and of course we just saw Tauntaun win the Prague Regional Championship, and I was actually lucky enough to commentate the event as well and commentate the grand final. I thought it was a fantastic event as well. I hope you enjoyed the event yourself as well if you watched it. But yeah, seeing Aegislash there winning the first time in Europe, I think it maybe won somewhere in Japan before, but this Pokemon itself hasn't had really the track record yet, but this changed with Tauntaun running this Pokemon with a different dark type, but not with the Pangoro. He was running the Hydreigon, and I actually tried out a little bit Hydreigon and the and this Pokemon here and the Aegislash in the Go Battle League, but I felt like Hydreigon is a little bit better though in the Show 6 Pick 3 format than in this format here, but Aegislash is so strong and so difficult to take down. As you're gonna see as well in the first battle, we're going to see the swap out here into that Charger Bug. What we're going to have here as well is the opponent's going to go for the Shadow Ball, trying to knock us out, but we now have that Gyro Ball stored. Is it Gyro Ball? I think it's actually would be Gyro Ball. I still say Gyro Ball. I don't know. Like, there are so many things where I'm like, I don't know how to actually say it the proper way, but I feel like everybody understands it. Anyway, what I don't understand is Lucario in the current Great League meta. But fear not, we're going to have a very solid answer here. You know what would have been even better though? The Aegislash. Usually, at least in the current meta, you would run the Meteor Mash as well as, of course, the Aura Sphere, as those are the two strongest moves on the Lucario, and Shadow Ball kinda isn't used as much anymore. So Aegislash would have most likely been able to just resist the damage from the opponent's Lucario here. I didn't go for the safe play, I went for the Charger Bug. At the end of the day, if Lucario runs the Shadow Ball, it might just be a little bit worse for us, but here we have a very classic core of that Wigglytuff and the Dusknoir from the opponent, and we are prepared. We are prepared here with the Aegislash, and this of course is going to be an absolutely fantastic matchup, and they cannot just wait out here as well, because we are going to be able to generate energy now faster in the form here, in the sword form basically. We're going to be able to generate energy so much faster than before, and so they cannot just charm us down, because as you can see here, we are just going to be able to get to yet another Gyro Ball, knock them out, and now in comes the Pangoro, which just needs one Night Slash, but the opponent decides to forfeit before this was even able to. Alright, Pangoro against Magcargo. If you want to take a look at our backline here, we will see that this Magcargo is going to be devastating, so we have to utilize our lead as much as possible in order to knock this Pokemon out. But we see here as well, we have two shields coming up straight away against us, which forces us to use another shield. Oh, actually, I decided to no shield here, because I was thinking they're very likely going to farm us down anyway. So here, I should still be able to knock out the Magcargo with our Charger Bug here, and yeah, leave with a shield, but the opponent swaps out. The opponent swaps out into a Dartrix, a Pokemon that is going to be able to do some nice stab damage, but it's not going to be effective here. Against any steel type, Dartrix doesn't really have the best play, and against Aegislash, a Pokemon with so much bulk, Dartrix really has nothing to do here. And now we have two Shadow Ball stored, and it does not matter which Pokemon wants to come in here, because nothing can take a hit of the Aegislash. If you saw the Prague Regional, you saw and how strong this Pokemon is and how much damage it does, and the Chestnut comes in here. This is not going to be the way to go. The Chestnut is going to not go down, but it's going to get very, very low, and in comes now the Charger Bug with the Discharge, knock out that Magcargo, dominating the play. We can move on to the next opponent. where we all face off against a Tinkaton in the lead. And as said before, it is actually not that bad for the Pangoro. Well, yes, the fairy type is double super effective. We have the close combat doing so much damage here. And now we can take those hits with both of our Pokemon on the back. Tinkaton is kind of hunted down from our backline, and they decide to swap out into the Feraligatr now against our electric type, which is interesting because like this is not what you would really expect the Feraligatr wanted to go into. But at the end of the day, this is going to be kind of fantastic for us because Aegislash needs to be kind of set up in a certain way, and we do exactly this with the play that we currently have. We need to kind of get shields down from the opponent. We need to get rid of the answers, and Feraligatr is a solid answer towards it. But in comes here as well that Tinkaton, and the Tinkaton goes down to one close combat here again from that Pangoro, showcasing on why this Pokemon is so strong. But now we see in the back the Jellicent waiting for us. This is not going to be a fantastic matchup at all because we're not going to have any kind of play here. The opponent has so much energy. I need to catch the move, and I do catch the move onto the Charger Bug. Charger Bug goes down, but it's down now to Aegislash to win us this battle. But can we actually pull it off? The Shadow Ball is coming in. It's not going to be enough to knock us out even with another one, but the fast move damage is coming through as well. But in comes the next move from the opponent. This is going to be the Shadow Ball, and it's going to knock out our Aegislash. A very close battle. Of course, the Shadow Diggersby against us in the lead is exactly where we want to face it. We're going to be able to go for the Night Slash bait here because I just want to play it safe, as my backline is really, really bad. I rather go for that, but they swapped out into the Galai support, and we can go for the full farm down with our Charger Bug, which now allows us to leave with basically 2 extra stored against the Diggersby, and we can just go for it back to back because there is no great pacing here. The opponent always going to get that fast move through anyway, but we want that damage, and the opponent is gonna be in the deep red health, and even with a shadow bonus on top of it, the Volt Switch, while double resisted, is starting to chunk away. And of course we still have Karate Chop onto the Pangoro, and of course we're going to use our shields on that Pangoro because it is going to be our most useful Pokemon as they swap back into a Jellicent. Jellicent apparently very common in the current meta. It is not going to appreciate the Night Slash though, and we're going to be so much faster at charging up to those moves with our Pangoro, as we see here now another Night Slash coming through against the opponent. This is doing enough damage to knock them out, but of course they're still going to have another shield left, and I'm gonna try to sacrifice my Aegislash now. But as you saw before, 2 Shadow Balls might just not be enough to knock us out, and so we're going to be close now to our own next charge move, and we might be able to hit it against the opponent's Jellicent as they're going to stay in here. The Shadow Ball is coming in, the Shadow Ball is going to be able to knock it out, guaranteed, and we have our Pangoro still in the back against this Diggersby, and in comes, actually Diggersby goes down already just to the Psycho Cut from the Aegislash. And we're gonna start off here in the next battle with a fantastic lead. This Licky is not going to appreciate any of our close combats, and they decide to use a shield here as I'm gonna be able to catch the move on to our Charger Bug. It's just going to be the body slam, it's not going to be too devastating, and while yes, this might not be the best matchup for me, it's also actually not the worst. While yes, a rollout is going to be super effective, the rest is actually quite fine to deal with, and so we can go for our X's here, trying to get the alignment against the opponent. It's not going to be enough to knock them out. Are we going to use a shield here? Are we going to let the move go through? I want to have the alignment. I want to go ahead and go for the full farm down, and now we have a charge move stored, which is gonna go up now against the Tinkaton. It's a double resisted Accessor. Not what I wanted to see here, but it's going to be fine because we have that alignment, and we will see as well on how little this Bulldoze is going to do. Bulldoze, not known to be a strong move, is barely doing anything, and in comes that Feraligatr, and we want to get that final shield. The Shadow Ball is going to be reached. The Shadow Ball is going to go up against that Feraligatr, forcing us as well here now to go for the close combat though with a Pangoro. This should be enough to knock out the Feraligatr at least low here at this point, but now I can actually still utilize our shields because I know that I'm going to do so much damage still even against the opponent's Tinkaton, as that close combat is coming in, guaranteeing us to put them into range for a move from our Aegislash there as well. But maybe it's not even needed. Okay, it is going to be needed, but at the end of the day we want to see every single time the opponent goes for that Bulldoze, I'm gonna get a free fast move in, which means we're getting closer and closer to our saving grace, to our next charge move. And especially as they don't get any debuffs here whatsoever, we're in such a perfect position. As we're going to go for the gyro ball, it doesn't matter here. We know both moves going to knock them out. And we are going to be able to take home this game. Moving on, Florges up against us here. Florges is going to be a Pokemon that we are going to swap out, of course, straight away against, and in comes the Fortress. Ideally, we could be able to realign ourselves, but it's going to be a tough one as Fortress is running that super effective charge move off a Rock Tomb. I will invest a shield straight away, because if we can align ourselves, we're going to have the Steel type of Aegislash up against that Florges, and it's so much better compared to, of course, that Pangoro. Pangoro will not want to take any of that Fairy type damage, but of course the Steel type kinda wants. And now I decide to go for another charge move here. I know they were very low, but I needed to go for it because they have another charge move stored, but it's so crucial, so important for me to align myself, so I will invest my final shield here. I will even go for the charge move just to make sure that I will be able to align myself. And now I am shield down, but it's not going to be too bad because we have the alignment and we have our Aegislash guaranteed against the Florges. We are going to be able to farm up extra energy as I swap out into the Jellicent, but now Pangoro is aligned. Pangoro is going to have the play that it wants to have. Pangoro is in a prime position to sweep the opponent here, as this is going to be another Night Slash coming through, forcing the opponent to use a shield onto that Jellicent, because they will need the Jellicent in order to get rid of our Aegislash. And now the opponent is going to be able to knock us out, but it is fine, because what we have as an option here is we have the option to just get up to 2 charge moves. But the opponent goes back into the Florges, trying to debuff. It's going to be the Chilling Water, of course, and they have so much more energy stored as well. So I'm not too sure. Is it double debuffed Gyro Ball enough to knock out a Florges? Let's find out. Gyro Ball is going to land here, going into the sword form. Let's see how much damage this is going to do. It's just barely enough, and the Shadow Ball is here for the Jellicent. And with that, we are going to be able to win this battle. We can move on to the next opponent, where Dusknoir is going to be waiting for us. We're going to try our best to go for those Night Slashes against the opponent. This is doing some massive damage, so of course it's the matchup that I want to see. But now, even this position, I rather stay in. I rather go for the shield, and I rather play it safe, because you never know. I don't want to have it aligned against our Aegislash laydown, because it is still a little bit too healthy. But at this point, I could try to sneak in a wall switch here, and I do exactly do that. And now it is not in range anymore, where Aegislash has to be fearing it at all. The Shadow Punch is coming in, doing nurse. Of course, we wanted to kind of get out here the Dynamic Punch, but still going to be fine. In comes here the opponent's Corviknight, which is quite interesting, as of course this is going to be our best answer to the Corviknight. In comes the Payback. It's going to knock us out, but we have still our Pangoro and then Night Slash range. Night Slash is coming through. Night Slash is going to be able to knock out the Corviknight, and in comes the Azumarill. I should have actually get some energy here as well on to my Pangoro before swapping, but it's okay because the opponent's Dusknoir is so low, and with that they decide to forfeit, and with that we're going to be able to move on to yet another Tinkaton lead. And I told you before on how you want to play it. You want to go straight for the move, because the charge move damage is not something that you fear at all with your backline. But here we get the early shield advantage, which could be crucial for later on. And we just need a little bit of fast move pressure against the opponent in order to put them into range for a Shadow Ball later on. But we're also going to get out the Guzzlord. And this is perfect because you still have super effective coverage here with that Aegislash. And we're also still going to have our Pangoro in the lead in order to counter it, guaranteed. But Aegislash is reach, and I can't see that the opponent is going to use another shield here. And so we have alignment. We know what they have in the lead. It's going to be the Tinkaton, and we know we have the perfect answer in Aegislash. They swap out, I swap out, and now this game is over. While yes, they won the lead, I won the save swap, and this is all that matters, because now it is just the Pangoro against the opponent's Feraligatr, and this is going to be it. This is going to be it for this matchup, as we have now the shield coming back in again. Even if they want to try to catch here, it doesn't matter at all. But the close comment is coming in, taking down that Feraligatr. In comes, of course, now our Aegislash against the Tinkaton, and they decide to forfeit. Alright, we have Tentacruel next against us. It's a Pokemon that we actually seen at the Prague Regional as well, which is not something that was on my bingo list there as well. But as we have, the matchup against the, Gourgeist, I actually kind of misplayed this one quite a bit. I just tried to play it safe in terms of trying to get the damage into the opponent, but this was not the way to go. This was absolutely not the way to go. As we will see here, the opponent farming us all the way down, leaving with so much energy, and I have no real answer for that. I am going to no-shield my Pangoro twice. That is a bit of a risky play, but try to get rid of the opponent's Pokemon here by going for the Aegislash, which does work out, and now it's all down to Aegislash. We saw the Tentacruel, we know that Tentacruel is running payback, and we don't know what there's in the back, and so I use a shield early on. Maybe it was a mistake, we have to find out shortly, but now it is time for Aegislash to take a hit. Let's see how much this payback is gonna do. It's gonna do close to half of our health, but now we are at 2 Shadow Balls. No matter what is going to happen now, we're gonna take a KO here. The Blade Form is going to be reached. The Blade Form is going to be able to knock out the opponent there, and in comes the Amoonguss, but I stayed in for too long there. I gave the opponent opportunities to get enough energy to maybe reach another move, and with it it's going to be so difficult for us. In comes though the Shadow Ball. We are not yet at another one. We need another fast move here. I'm going to be able to shield up the move from the opponent, but if they have 2 moves here, this game is over. But luckily we can still get the Shadow Ball off, and with this we're going to be able to win this final battle of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.